Well, that same game parlay didn't go well last night, but I've got three bets for you in the NHL tonight. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Connium, and yeah, that same game parlay yesterday that I recommended for the Knights and the Kings, with the two-legger, we lost both legs, so that did not go well, so I do apologize for that. However, as I always mention, if you follow me on the BettingPros app, this way, did have some winners, so we lost that same game parlay, as I mentioned. James Harden under 27.5 points. I think he finished with 18 or 19. You can just go ahead and keep betting James Harden unders if they're going to keep making his prop that close to 30. And he's going to hit it sometimes, but he's not going to hit it most of the time. We did lose a bet on Benedict Mathurin going over there. He didn't do that. But the Pistons beat the Clippers, so we hit that. So overall, it was a flat day. Not too much to complain about there. So be sure you're following me on the BettingPros app to get all of those other bets. Now, if you're looking at today, we've got three bets in the NHL. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just go over to the side screen there. You can look at all the bets. Or if you're listening to the audio version, you can listen to me talk about them. We're going to start with the Edmonton Oilers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it's an under 6.5. You might be saying, hang on a minute. You're going to bet under with the Edmonton Oilers. When you look at the last time that these teams played, they did go under it. Previous to that, it was a 7-4 final, it was a 6-4 final, a 5-3 final. I'm betting the under, and they haven't played in 2025. It's the end of February. They've played once this season. It was 2-1, so that went under. And all those overs that we talked about, you're looking all the way back to the end of 2023. So it's been 2 years since that time. And I'm also banking on the starting goalies being Calvin Pickard against Andre Vasilevsky, because when you look at Pickard, he's 14-6 on the season with a 2.69 goals against average, and Vasilevsky's been unbelievable. He's 25-15 with a 2.27 goals against and a 9.20 save percentage. And then you look at Vasilevsky's last 5 games. Those are the players that are the goalies that are expected to start. Vasilevsky in his last 5 games, he's 5-0 with a 2.2 goals against and a 9.33 save percentage. Edmonton Oilers are actually 30-26 to the under on the season. The Tampa Bay Lightning are 26-25 to the under on this season. And then you also look at the fact that, these are two good teams, second in the Pacific, third in the Atlantic, and the Oilers have been shelled in the first 2 games since the Four Nations. They lost 7-3 to Washington. They lost 6-3 to the Flyers. You look at Tampa Bay, they beat Seattle 4-1. They beat Montreal 5-3. So Edmonton has been getting scored on. Tampa's been scoring. I sort of want to buck that trend a little bit. I think this is the game of the night in the NHL, in my opinion. They're both going to be looking to set the tone. It's going to be a little bit of a playoff atmosphere, I think, especially, again, coming out of that Four Nations. You've got quite a few players on either side of the puck there. So I like this game to go under. Obviously, if the goaltending situation does change, it's not Pickard, it's not Vasilevsky, maybe you can revisit that. Maybe you punt out of it. But if it's Pickard against Vasilevsky, you're getting that 6.5. I don't see this game going to 7 or more goals. So you can go ahead and give me the under there for -110. Other game I like is also -110. This is an interesting one. It's the Battle of New York. You've got the Rangers on the road against the Islanders. And you might think, well, this is an automatic New York Rangers going to the Stanley Cup final. It's the Islanders. Like, who cares, right? These two teams are battling for the 5th spot in the Metropolitan. New York is 28-25-4. New York's right behind them in 6th place at 25-24-6. Rangers have won 6 of the last 10 meetings against the New York Islanders. However, when you look at the situation, the Islanders just got defenseman Scott Mayfield back. They just got Ryan Pulock back. And they're going to start getting Noah Dobson back as early as tonight as well. So their defensive core has shored up quite a bit. When you look at the way that they have played recently, the New York Rangers, they're on an extensive road trip coming out of the Four Nations Cup. They were at Buffalo. They got hammered by Buffalo 8-2. They beat Pittsburgh 5-3, but everyone's been beating Pittsburgh lately, and they're still on the road. You look at the Islanders, they need to figure it out. They've only played 1 game since the Four Nations. It was a 4-3 loss to Dallas. But you erase that Four Nations break, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, which with those losses, they were right neck and neck with the New York Rangers before those 4 losses in 5 games. I think this is a great bounce back spot for them. Patrick Waugh at home, I always, like to bet on that fact there. And for the New York Rangers, I just don't think, they were as good last year. I think they're sort of regressed a little bit this season. They've only won 2 of their last 4 games. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. They're not the greatest road team. They're only 14-13 on the road. The New York Islanders are above 500 at home. So give me the New York Islanders to cover that spread at minus 104. Essentially even money. It's like minus 104, minus 105 on either side. So I like the Islanders in that one. And the last one is the plus 120 on the Detroit Red Wings. I'm betting plus money for the Detroit Red Wings to go into Minnesota and upset the Minnesota Wild. Now you might say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe not. If you want to bet the Minnesota Wild, go ahead. But Detroit is 13-10 on the road this season. The Minnesota Wild, despite their record of 34-19, they're a road team. The Minnesota Wild are 21-7-3 on the road, and they're only 13-12 at home this season. They are 14 games above 500 on the road, 1 game above 500 at home. Now, in the last 10 meetings, Minnesota has beat Detroit 8 times, but these teams just played 3 days ago in Detroit. Now they're going to Minnesota. We saw it in the Four Nations Cup. It's hard to beat a team in back-to-back games, no matter where you're playing. That was a 4-3 win in overtime for the Minnesota Wild. So because of that, that is why I like Detroit to bounce back, get a big win. They lost to Minnesota. They just played Anaheim 2 nights ago after that. They got the win there. The last game that Minnesota played was against those Detroit Red Wings. To beat a team twice in back-to-back games, they're not a very strong home team. Detroit's as good on the road as they are at home. And so you're getting plus 120. And that's what I really like. If this was even money or even closer to that, maybe I don't bet Detroit. Maybe I'm more on the Minnesota side. But Detroit Red Wings to go into Minnesota, like I said, not a great home team. Detroit's plus 120. Give me the Detroit Red Wings for those big plus money odds there. So those are my favorite 3 bets in the NHL today. Oilers and Lightning to go under 6.5. New York Islanders on the money line. Detroit Red Wings on the money line. Now, it's a big day in sports. You've got a lot of college basketball. You've got Luka Doncic playing the Dallas Mavericks tonight in LA. So I am going to have more picks and props throughout the day, most certainly. So follow the link in the description below to be following me on the BettingPros app to track all those picks for free, or of course follow me across any of the social channels where I post that stuff as well. Have a great Tuesday. Let's talk sports.